So a question was asked on one of the forums: what chords do I need for funk music? Really, funk music isn't about the sort of harmony or the chord, it's more about the rhythm. But there are some chords that work, that do lend themselves well to the sort of funk genre. I mean, if you, for example, listen to Sex Machine by James Brown, that uses a 7 and a 9 chord, actually, 7 add 9. And what that is annular finger across strings 1, 2 and 3, index finger on string 4, but a fret behind, and then your middle finger comes over and presses the 5th string along with the on the same fret as your annular finger. You can press it down on the 6th string as well, but it's best to keep the 6th string muted. There's your muted 6th string and your chord. You can make it as complicated or as simple as you like. Beware of filling up the space though. If we've got this. It keeps a groove, but it's not filling up every single 16th note, which is what it's based on here. So if a beat is going 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You have 16th notes like that, and they can be swung, as I've just done. So you get a ba 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 ba, or they can be straight. So there's your straight. I'll do the swing and then the straight. Straight. Very, very slightly different rhythmic feels there. I'm muting the chord by simply lifting this chord just to mute the strings. So you end up with that instead of this. And essentially what you do is you keep 16ths going here, but press down the chord as and when you need it. But it's important to keep those muted ones softer than the chords, so you don't end up with this. You end up with more this. If you really want to get minimal, you could actually silence those muted ones completely and just press the chord down when you need it with a strum. It's quite hard, that. But essentially what I've done is I've kept the down-up motion of the plectrum to keep the beat going, because otherwise if you do this, if you're sort of waiting for the chord and then timing it with a strum, it's never going to work along with that sort of groove. So and very often on sort of funk records or anything with this sort of rhythmic sort of chord, you'll often get another guitar line that goes with it. A good example of this is Pick Up the Pieces by the Average White Band, which is in F minor. F minor 7, there we go, there's another chord. A minor 7 chord is a good funk music chord as well, if you know. So how Pick Up the Pieces goes is this. With a badly sung over the top. So if I'm going to try now just looping this. Okay, it's enough to demonstrate this other line. just a line that goes with that chord. So you got. And in fact, if you listen to that particular tune, if you listen to one channel only, you get one of the guitars, and if you listen to the other channel only, like the left-hand side, you get. And it's just a little scalic line that just repeats itself. And the bass is even simpler, it just goes. But all of those three parts come together to form that whole, form that sort of funk groove. So it's very important to keep it nice and simple. I wouldn't overuse effects. Lots of people, for example, when they're playing something like Kiss by Prince, whose opening chord is this. So you've got that sort of... lots of people use a wah-wah pedal with it. But actually, on the original, it's almost a sort of Porter sound, sort of guitar sound. It's very, very basic. That's actually what makes it work so well. So using lots of effects like... It kind of detracts from what you're trying to convey as a rhythmic idea. That also brings me on to combining chords with single lines. If I was the only guitarist playing Pick Up the Pieces, and I'd have to convey that as well, I could do something like that. I could just take bits. So, but again, don't overcomplicate it. I could do something like that. That may work okay. Again, I haven't got any effects on this at all. So you can, though, you know, of course, the phaser is a nice sort of... And if you've got long chords, it might be nice to have a little bit of modulation on that. Or wah-wah or something. But generally speaking, if you're doing... To have it unsullied by effects really does sort of give it a more subtle place in your sort of overall groove. So there it is. There's a sort of an introduction to how I would sort of approach funk music. Of course, the genre is massive. You know, you've got the whole sort of New Orleans, like the meters, you know. And then, you know, you've got the Pick Up the Pieces, the Average White Band. And then you've got bands like Tower of Power, who are more sort of complicated chord-wise, but they always get it right because it's all subtle. Rhythmically, it's very subtle. There's lots of gaps. I mean, they're really tight band. You know, only so much oil in the ground. So there's lots and lots happening there, but it's still within that sort of subtle, sort of groovy nature of funk music.